So here's the top 10 best Pokemon ROM hacks to play in 2023. This is another 10. We already did a video previously, so check that one out if you want to. Either way, first up is Radical Red, which just had a massive 4.0 update, which actually added in all the Generation 9 Pokemon into the game, which means yes, you can now capture the Weed Cat even in Radical Red. And this update also came with a bunch of changes to some of the trainers. A lot of the gym leaders will now have Gen 9 Pokemon from Paldea being used, and hopefully the future updates will also include the DLC from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as well. But yes, Radical Red is a fantastic game if you're looking for a difficulty mod that will actually make Pokemon Fire Red feel way harder, but also just really fun and cool. Next up is Pokemon Reverse, which is quite a unique game. It attempts to basically recreate and remake the Fire Red game by adding tons of new features, changing the graphics, and doing things that haven't really been done before. For example, you will be able to have the feature of actually defending your champion title at some point, even becoming a gym leader in the game, which is going to be a feature. And it even has Miraidon as a rideable mount Pokemon for you to use. So basically, instead of a bike, you're riding on Miraidon the way you would do it in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as well. The game has loads of other features as well, day-night cycle, loads of stuff like that. But, of course, not everything has been added in yet, so stay tuned on Pokemon Reverse for more information on it. Then, of course, we have Pokemon Mirage of Tales. Now, the best part about Mirage of Tales is that it is a game that is fully choice-based in terms of gameplay. In this game, you get to choose what you want to do. The story basically changes based on what you want to do. You can be a lot of different things. You can be a researcher, you can be a ranger, you can be a rogue, which is a trainer that basically acts like a lone criminal, and you can also be just a regular trainer. There's loads of different career choices that you can make that will change the story and what happens. The game also features day and night cycles as well as seasons, an alignment system where your characters kind of based on your personality, you can choose what you want them to be like. There is overworld wild Pokemon encounters, like in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, houses you can own, which is pretty awesome, so there's a housing system, new moves and abilities, updated all the way to Generation 7, there's a physical, special, and status split, and of course the fairy typing. There's over 100 custom items, and of course, berries that have been added in, custom regional variants, a regional Pokedex, custom sprites, and just loads of other quality of life changes that make this one of the best Pokemon games out there. Then we have Pokemon Shiron Castle. Now, this is a newer game that recently came out, and this is basically a ROM hack that currently is about 3 to 4 hours long with a large amount of rooms and places to explore. Basically, you get to go through a bunch of, well, I guess, rooms and dungeons within this castle as you try to make progress. Basically, it includes Pokemon up till Generation 8 with updated movesets and some modern mechanics. Fairy type is also implemented, a sprawling map with many parts to it as well, many options for Pokemon and health items that the player can buy and use, allowing for a kind of great replay value, kind of giving you a little bit of a dungeon crawler, roguelike type of game of design. There's also 17 new songs across the game, all with brand new melodies, custom tiles, a fun and interesting dialogue and characters, updated version of the original, entry with rebalancing, polishes, and other stuff as well. Basically, the game is propped full with features, making it an interesting dungeon crawler Pokemon ROM hack. Next up, we have Pokemon Dark Worship. Now, this is a ROM hack with a unique story that takes place in the Seafood region. Yes, a very strange name for a region, but nonetheless. Basically, an evil sect invades the region to try to capture the holy Pokemon. So your job is to go and stop them and try to make sure that the region stays safe. Now, do they intend to harm the Pokemon world? We don't know. Basically, the game features loads of new things like a new story, a new region, 24 starters, so you have all the options, Mega Evolution, Z-Moves, Dynamax, Gigantamax, and even some YouTubers as NPCs. There is a Dex Nav in case you want to do shiny hunting and stuff, EXP share to make leveling easier, several side quests that will give you important items, and Nintendo DS style graphics, which makes it unique and different, items that replace HMs, so Crazy Axe, a Crazy Mass, Crazy Climber, and Crazy Hammer are the items that you can use instead of HMs, so you don't need to have HM slaves. Either way, possibility to actually choose starter Trico with physical or special splits, Pokemon up to Hisui, and loads of puzzles to make the journey more interesting. Then we have Pokemon Regis Origin. Now, this is a very strange game, but it's basically a version of Emerald that is quite different, okay? It features the same region, but some of the routes have been changed. You have the soaring ability, so you can actually soar in the sky, which is really awesome. You can do mining underground, so the underground is back. Remastered third generation graphics to make them look a little bit more up and, newer and cooler. There's a narration mechanic, updated systems of the latest generation, so any of the features you can think of from the newest gens will be in here. There's action screens with protagonist launches. There's also vulnerability, so limited life, platforms, and items to equip the protagonist with, making you literally vulnerable to death, which is kind of crazy. But nonetheless, this is quite a unique game. It's not one that many people have played, but it's definitely one that should be given a chance. Then we have Pokemon Fire Ash. Now, this is a must-play for those of you who love Ash Ketchum and love the Pokemon anime that we had for the last, well, 8 or so generations. Well, basically, in Pokemon Fire Ash, you get to follow Ash's journey all the way from Generation 1 of Kanto all the way to Galar, of course, with journeys. The game is fantastic. You can play through all of his journey, capture all the Pokemon that he also captures, and see all the things that Ash saw throughout his journeys through all the different regions. You even get to do the Orange Islands if you want to. You can do all of that. Basically, it is one of the most interesting and fun Pokemon games out there, and it's genuinely a cool journey to do if you want to experience Ash's Pokemon anime journey. Pokescape has got to be one of the strangest yet coolest ROM hacks I've ever seen. If you are a fan of MMORPGs such as RuneScape, you will recognize a lot of things in this ROM hack, as it's basically set in the world of RuneScape, which is really strange. Basically, it's Pokemon, but RuneScape at the same time. A lot of the monsters from RuneScape are in here, and the enemies, as well as the world and the map, making for a quite different journey. Of course, some of you may like this, some of you may not like it, but if you're into RuneScape, you will love this game. It's a different attempt at making a Pokemon journey that just feels different, looks different, and genuinely is different, and that's why Pokescape is on this list, and it's a game I think you guys should give a chance to. We have Pokemon Battle Labyrinth. Now, this one is a bit different. Basically, this emulates an RPG dungeon crawling style of game. Now, we have one other one on this list like that, but this is kind of interesting. You have all the Pokemon from Generation 1 to 7 available to capture, including Alola forms. Pokemon have been rebalanced or changed in some way through their base stats, abilities, and move pools, or even typings. Dizzy Egg's battle engine is being used in this case, so the Generation 7 battle engine, as well as the functional Mega Evolutions are in here. There's an optional Nuzlocke mode, completely implemented with Dupes Claws, Special Claws, and even Shiny Claws, an emphasis on challenging gameplay and resource management over story for this game. So it's not going to be a lot of story, but it's going to be a lot of challenge. If you're looking for a difficulty hack that's going to be kind of different from what you've been playing recently, then this might be the one. You also have other things like reusable TMs, HMs are being replaced by key items, so you don't have to stress about things along those lines. As a bonus, I also want to include Pokemon Red and Blue Sequel, which is an awesome game that basically tries to be the sequel of the original Red and Blue games, but with different graphics. The game features Pokemon from Generation 1 to 8, a new story. You get to play in Kanto during autumn. There's also a winter edition that's supposed to be released someday. Basically, there's also Mega Evolution, Z moves, only Alolan and Galarian forms. There's a semi-open world, so you do have a bit of freedom. You can fight new gym leaders, new Elite Four and Champion, almost every protagonist from other Pokemon games, all the Sinnoh and Kalos gym leaders, Sinnoh Battle Frontier, and a Sinnoh Elite 4. Wild Pokemon scale with the level of the lowest Pokemon in your party. Trainers will have enemy Pokemon that are at the same level and even a highest level of your Pokemon in your party as well when the battle begins. The Pokemon is expanded with more items. Celadon department store is also updated, so there's loads of things in there. And the move tutors and free rare candies on the top floor of Pokemon centers are available for those who do not want to just waste their time grinding. And there's just, like I said, loads of Pokemon. Things have been changed out, areas have been changed out, things have just been really altered to make sure that this game is its own unique thing, which gives me a reason to recommend it to you guys as the bonus game to check out. And finally, we have Pokemon Stranded. Now, what is Pokemon Stranded all about? Well, Pokemon Stranded is a ROM hack where you get to go around and survive on an island where you've been stranded. The game focuses mainly on having a bunch of side quests, having interesting things to do, and having a fun story. There are no badges, no Pokemon centers, or Pokemon mods, and so forth. So basically, your job is to survive in here by using the stuff around you, okay? You end up here on accident. You end up here because of an accident. So now you got to survive your way through the dark secrets of this island. You got to collect information from various sources, piece together to reveal the dark and gruesome mystery that has been hidden within the islands. And basically, you're just going to be stranded here. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be having to use different items to survive. You're going to be having to do a lot of like mining and looking for resources to make sure that your team doesn't fall apart. It is genuinely a bit of a different game. It does give a different vibe, but it's definitely also a fun journey nonetheless.